Hello, I'm Julie Swenson, Managing Director of Forward Theater Company in Madison, Wisconsin.
And I'm Mike Fisher, a Milwaukee-based theater writer and dramaturg.
And I'm Jen Uphoff-Gray, founder and artistic director of Forward Theater Company. And this is Theater Forward, a monthly conversation about theater from a local, regional, and national perspective. From Madison to Manhattan, we're excited to share insights into our own company while exploring issues surrounding theater in the Midwest and around the country. Welcome to episode 134 of Theater Forward.
All right.
In this episode, we offer the first of a 2-episode series on mentorship. As in many fields, a good mentor in the theater can make all the difference to your career and your artistry. This month and next, we offer a half a dozen interviews with some amazing artists on the mentors that changed their lives.
Our first guest is Karen Estrada. Karen is an actor, director, theater arts educator. She's worked for all of the companies in Wisconsin. First Stage, Chamber Theater, Next Act, Milwaukee Opera Theater, Skylight Music Theater. We met doing a play many years ago called The Smell of the Kill at Renaissance Theater Works and have become good friends, have been good friends ever since then. Karen is also a 3-time alumni of Disney on Classic that toured in Japan and Taiwan. And she's currently in Northern Skies, The Thing with Feathers, and later on this summer directing Red Herring at 3rd Avenue Playworks. Karen, welcome.
Oh, hi, Julie. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be here.
We're so glad to have you here. Tell us about your mentor, who I knew you were going to talk about this person, but I don't know this person. So I'm really excited to hear.
Well, I love to talk about Ron Anderson. Ron Anderson I first met Ron during at First Stage Theater Academy, of which I'm a long time alum. In 6th grade, my mom found a flyer and was like, "Do you think you'd like this?" And I thought, yeah, I would really very much, because I wanted to be Julie Andrews. So this was going to help me get there. And she put me on the freeway flyer from Slinger to downtown, where I would get off the bus, go to Steamer's Coffee, and watch Mayor Norquist at the time, former Mayor Norquist, come in and get coffee for his entire staff. He would illegally park by a fire hydrant and turn his flashers on. And then I would go down to the Marcus Center for the Performing Arts, where we had our first kind of scrappy, delightful theater academy founded by Tyne Turner and Michael Warren. But Ron Anderson was the movement teacher. And he started out in those first years being incredibly serious. We all had to sit on a number when we got into the class, and he would teach based on the skills that he knew best, which were clowning and circus, but in this incredibly serious manner. Which was both wonderful because it was kind of in that French style, this is very important. And and we all were like, okay. So we would learn to do mime work in a very precise, serious, determined manner. And I thought the whole thing was absolutely delightful. He was one of my all-time favorite teachers, teaching my favorite thing. I love that movement work. And so for the entirety of my First Stage career as an academy kid, I took every class that I could that he taught, including the fall classes and the summer classes. He would teach stilt walking. We would all learn to build, and then building came later, but build and then walk on stilts. This is something that, I'll get there. We learned, miming, tumbling, juggling, just kind of the basic tenets of clowning and circus work. Then when Tyne and Michael stepped away from the academy, he became the academy director and was the academy director until this young upstart when I was 18, named Jeff Frank took over as Academy director. And I was like, he'll never last. And the reason Ron stepped away at that point was because he and his wife, Debbie, had a son, Max, and they wanted to move back to where they were both from, which was Georgia. He was a Macon, Georgia, born and raised resident. And so he had this friend, Paul Pierce, who ran the Springer Opera House, which is this gorgeous historic theater in Columbus, Georgia, on the mighty Chattahoochee River. And and Paul said, "I'd like you to start a similar academy down here." And he did. And this year they are having their 30th year. So yeah, that started, he did that from 1996 and retired in 2015 because he was in 2014, he was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He passed the torch to a dear friend, Sally Baker, who was an Academy student at Springer. And and then he died in 2016, in August of 2016, on a day that I was teaching at First Stage in a gray t-shirt, wearing I was teaching Next Steps, which is their program for kids with neurodiversity. And the reason that was started is because his son, Max, has autism, is neurodiverse. And so he was very interested in making sure that there was theater classes available to kids with neurodiversity. And then that was brought back to First Stage by Jen Adams. So I was teaching a skill he taught me at First Stage to a group of like delightful neurodiverse kids on the day that he died. And I thought, well, I couldn't be doing anything better with my time on this day. And it was great. Yeah. So that is kind of, I can tell you more about, he was a teacher. He went and got his master's in theater, and he just, as much as he was always kind of kid focused, what I loved about his teaching is that he started at this very serious place, and as teaching ridiculous skills, and he found this amazing balance of the serious and the ridiculous and the goofy, the joyful, and the discipline that I have tried to use every day in my career in this job as an actor, a director, and an educator. So that's one of the main things that I took from him. And then in all three of those like career choices, I could talk about again, like how as an actor, like I come from a movement place. I use every skill he taught to find my way into a character, and have touchstones to start with emotions and feelings and this love of children's theater. I get to work at First Stage a bunch because he valued it and gave it dignity. And that's something that has continued. There is nothing. He trusted kids. He was kind to kids, and that is present at the Springer and at First Stage. And the people that he was lucky enough to teach and direct and mentor, absolutely, it was such a base for what we did that we all took it everywhere else. And of course, anything that you learn to any time that you know how to, anytime you learn to be kind and generous to kids, you absolutely bring that into grown-up world. And that is actually how everyone wants to be treated, with respect, with dignity, with a seriousness, but also the sense of joy, because what we're doing is deadly important and also the most delightful thing possible. And what a human endeavor. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Karen, I just the love in your voice is painting such a beautiful picture of what this artist and teacher meant to you. And like, even though I like Julie, I didn't know him. I feel like I can see his influence in knowing your work. Isn't that the joy of mentorship?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
knowing that you started with clowning. That it's all coming together, Karen.
I just watched
Yay.
Karen 2 weeks ago, Karen, at a benefit for Next Act Theater, doing a whole clowning shtick, which was hilarious, and it reminded me of all the times over so many years where I have literally been like ready to pee in my pants watching Karen on.
Right.
But the other thing, which I've also written about a lot, and you just said it, it's about the combination of being serious and ridiculous. And one of the things that remains underrated about this fabulous actor we're talking to right now is not only is she one of the funniest people you will see on a Wisconsin stage, but she goes deep and can get you into places where it really counts. And part of that's because it's embodied, and part of that's because perhaps some of the skills that this mentor passed on and that are now being channeled to us. I feel like even though I never met this person, that because of getting to watch you, I'm seeing something of his spirit live on. And isn't that what's great about how this ephemeral art form really isn't? It's something that connects us to the past and carries forward.
That's the best possible way to honor him I could imagine in my whole life. To do the work well and then like allow that to trickle to other folk. Thank you.
Do you, one of the things that I often think about when I think about my mentors is the ways they will suddenly pop into my mind, not because I sort of sat down to think about them, but because I'll be doing something in my work. I'll be in a rehearsal. I'll be taking notes on a run or something. And suddenly I'll think of something that I learned from my mentors. Do you have those experiences?
All the time. All the time. Ron had a bunch of mottos. Be bold, fail mightily. Like learn by doing, if you step in, like they were all kind of a similar vibe. The learn by doing, if you don't know how, learn by doing, be bold, fail mightily. And then if step into the light and your eyes will adjust, like all three, all three of those. And it's just a lovely way to deal with any insecurity or fear. What the sense of courage that he gave thousands of young people and adults that he worked with is one of the things that I like best about theater, is that I get to practice courage every day and all the time, and sometimes when it feels impossible. Let's see. He would say, he would say, today was hard, tomorrow will be better.
Nice.
He would have a series, as he moved from teaching into administrating, he would have a series of what would be called Ron Talks with kids who just kind of had a hard day. And he would talk to them about what they needed. What did you do well today? And what can you do better tomorrow? And how it'll just like that sense of it'll be okay. Gosh, plans are overrated. This real sense of like, just this real sense of joyful improv with work behind it. I don't know. That comes up all the time. I mean, there's never. I remember at the directors conference that was so awesome. At one point, Jill Anaponasek said, I think it's so great that the audiences come in and they think that these are all a series of, what they're seeing on stage is the result of a series of deliberate choices and not the reaction to 1,000 disasters. And I love that. Gosh, I'm trying to find. There is the Academy. Has a motto that I think about a lot as well, and it's okay. It's honor the past, acknowledge the present, and salute the future. That's it. And And then we would launch into this exercise called salutations, which is done to Pachelbel's canon. And it's just a way to kind of have presence and gratitude in the space. But those to have salutations of honoring the past, acknowledging the present, and saluting the future. This is sense of instilling that because other people did their jobs well, we get to be here. So if we do our jobs well, then we get to honor the people yet to come. It's lovely when the disasters or the sharp left turns occur in this job, just to remember that this is the arc of like theater has been millennia, so it's probably okay. I mean, right. I get this too from just being married to an archaeologist. Like we live. I'm always reminded that the Anthropocene is just one epoch of man. We've got so much time present like before that, so it's probably okay. It's a generous way to live.
Yeah, Karen's beautifully said, and what a perfect encapsulation of what mentorship means too. And the way, you know, you're specifically finding your place in that pathway of, you know, learning from and being guided by and informed by a mentor, but then the ways in which you are paying that forward, the ways in which you are saluting the future, working with young people. That's what mentorship is about, right? Is you benefit from someone else's knowledge and then you pass it along. And gosh, I'm glad we asked you to be a part of this conversation because it's just perfect. Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, my absolute pleasure. I could talk about Ron for hours and hours, preferably over either a strong, very strong cup of coffee or some Kopp's custard.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next guest on our podcast today is C. Michael Wright, who's got a fantastic Wisconsin origin story. He was already an established actor in New York on a national tour for Master Harold and the Boys, and they made a stop in Milwaukee. And as he went back to New York, he thought, you know, I like this place. And the rest is history. He's been here for almost 40 years now, during which time Michael Wright has, as much as anybody I can think of, just reshaped the landscape of Wisconsin theater. Had long stints at Next Act, a historic and sort of extraordinary 15-year run as the artistic director at Milwaukee Chamber Theater. And then he supposedly was retiring at that point, except that upon moving to Sturgeon Bay, he has been so active in every aspect that one can think of at Third Avenue Playworks, currently the education coordinator, but also still acting. It's amazing that we still have his voice involved in Wisconsin theater. And today we get to hear a little bit about one of the people that made that possible for the rest of us by making Michael Wright the person that he is. Michael, who do you want to talk to us about as a mentor in your life?
Well, I thought about this long and hard, and I'd have to say Athol Fugard.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I met Athol. I was in New York for 12 years, and I met him right in the middle of that. That's sort of the turning point for me, meeting him. And he was so generous with his time and his stories. And he made me rethink how to go about a life in the theater, to stop thinking about it as a career and start thinking about it as just a way of living. He helped me rethink the theater has to happen with a group. You need many people. And I was wearing blinders in New York, trying to survive there, trying to stay single focused. And I just threw away those blinders and started thinking about finding a theater family, finding ways to nurture others, rather than being single-minded about my own personal goals, letting it be more about the we. And that was sort of a turning point for me. Halfway through my stay in New York, I did a sort of a very abrupt turn to get myself out of New York. It wasn't where I was meant to be. And fortunately, Milwaukee became a perfect home to explore some of those ideas. But one of the great things Athol used to say is that I'm not a political writer, even though his stories are very, very full of political issues. He said, I am a storyteller. And I sort of realized that's what I wanted to be too. Just be a storyteller. What stories do I want to tell? And not just on stage, but with my daily life. How do I want to relate to others? It really did open up so many more options for me. I started to direct more. I started to coach friends who would come to me and say, could you help me get ready for this audition? And just stop thinking with this single focus. Started opening up to just the possibilities. And I really do thank Athol. He was so generous and yet still so passionate about what he believed in. And he would spend so much time telling me stories about his life and his purpose. He gave me a real sense of purpose because he was so committed to the stories he wanted to tell. And I started to think, okay, what stories do I want to tell? And I do think that I have him to thank for that about face that I did. Mm-hmm. How's that?
Well, Michael, I think about the mentoring, and that you've done here. I mean, I think about people like Michael Cody and Marcy Kearns or Molly Rohde. I mean, the list is endless of people who would point to you as integral to launching, their careers. What about the way in which you were mentored by him? It sort of was something you could pass on or carry forward in the way in which you helped nurture those or other individuals that you helped in your time?
I think a lot of it has to do with really digging deep the way Athol did, telling his stories and figuring out who I am in the world, who I am to others and for others, and being a gay man. And at a time when we weren't having children, we weren't getting married. It was a way for me to become a father of sorts. Because that was sort of a burning thing for me. So in talking to Athol about stories like Master Harold, that is his life on stage, who he was, and he was so brave in examining who he was, the good and the bad. And I think that that's what I started to do too, to figure out who I am in the world and how I want to treat others, how I want to view others, and how I wanted to use my art form. That it wasn't about just getting ahead as an individual. It was about creating worlds, creating families, creating environments, which is what Athol had done down in South Africa. He had a little company of actors and fellow playwrights that he would work with and was devoted to. I think that there's something wonderful about finding like-minded people who trust you and you can be bold and brave with, because you can fail. They're going to let you fail when you need to learn, but to be able to take chances, take risks, keep exploring the depth of who you are.
Mm-hmm. Michael, I think you absolutely have carried that. I think you are doing exactly what you are saying that you've learned from Athol Fugard, and the amount of people you have touched, and made better artists and better people. Does Athol Fugard, did he know that you had learned so much from him and were putting them to use here in Wisconsin?
Probably not. We lost touch. I felt like I was sort of a very small drop in his very large bucket.
Well, I love listening to this, Michael. The whole joy of these conversations that we're having is I feel like I'm understanding really profound things about artists and colleagues whose work I've known for so long. But in the 20 plus years that I've been back in Wisconsin, I don't know that there is a theater artist that more embodies the idea of theater as a we and not an I here in the state than you.
Thanks.
And I've been observing that for these last couple of decades now. And to hear you articulate that so clearly, that point of view and where you learned it from it's just kind of magical to me.
Agreed.
That's fun. That's fun. And it was fun for me to sort of explore, to think back about when you asked who my mentor was. I really had to think hard. And he's the only one that came to mind because it really was a turning point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to sort of examine that. What exactly did he pass on that made me change my course?
Great. Yeah. And sometimes mentors, you're reminding me that sometimes a mentor can be somebody that is in your life for years and years and decades and a sounding board. And sometimes mentors have enough that they can share in a short period of time for you to go on with your life. And
Right.
it sounds like that was the latter. And profound enough that you kept it, in your career and in your life.
Right.
Yeah. So great.
I think back of your time at Chamber. To me, and I know I wrote about this a lot, one of the most inspirational things that you did was the 3-year, talk about risk, commitment you made to 3 different southeastern Wisconsin universities to use their artists, designers, and actors, put them on stage with the very best professionals that the state had to offer, and give us 3 fantastic productions. But talk about taking risks. That's using an institution to sort of directly interface with education in terms of the way in which you think about the next generations and your work, through Third Avenue or other places. How do you think about continuing to do the kinds of things you were able to do when you were in Milwaukee in terms of educating and mentoring the next generation of theater artists, even though you're supposedly semi-retired or retired?
Well, one wonderful thing being on the board at Third Avenue Playworks has been a great opportunity to explore this whole new chapter for myself. I meet every Tuesday afternoon with staff to talk about many things. We call it donor relations because we talk a lot about patrons and courtship and board candidates, but we also talk about marketing. We talk about community outreach. But every Tuesday at noon, I meet with them. And every Friday at 9, I meet with Jacob Jansen, the artistic director, and do just a very casual kind of check-in, but it is a mentorship and has been for years now. And that feels right to me. That's my new purpose, I feel, is to just be there. Julie, you mentioned sounding board. I mean, to some degree, I'm there for people to ask questions. What did you learn? Did you ever try this? But also just to stick my nose in once in a while and say, you need to be thinking about this. You're ignoring this. Don't forget about this. Stop doing that. Just to try to continue parenting. I do feel like I should be saying grandparenting now. Mike, you mentioned Michael Cody. His Jackson, his son, came to visit a couple years ago, and people used to call me Uncle Mike. And I introduced myself to Jackson as Uncle Mike and Uncle Ray. He stayed with us. And at one point, he turned to Michael and said, "Where's the other grandpa?" So in that visit, we changed from Uncle Mike and Uncle Ray to Grandpa Mike and Grandpa Ray. But I love that. I sort of am embracing that. That's who I am now. And I think that there's something wonderful about this new chapter. I love not having to have a lot of burden. I love just being there to help when I can, to be available. But I
To help
don't.
ease the
I'm so
burden.
glad the stress is gone, the pressure is gone. At least most of it's gone. There's still always some, but it's much less now.
Yeah. That's the beauty of mentorship is taking the burdens that you learned from yourself and passing along how to just slightly ease the burden for
Right,
someone else,
right.
which is a beautiful thing.
Yes, yes.
Which is a beautiful thing. Michael, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing the story and the inspiration of
Yeah.
everything you keep doing to pay that forward. It's beautiful to hear about.
Thanks. It's great to see you all.
Same.
I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to see each other. I wasn't sure if this was just voices.
Yeah.
Voices for the audience, but faces while we record. So
Makes
a
such
special
difference to
treat.
me.
And
Right.
for those
Treat.
of you, for those of you in the audience, all you would see right now from the three people who've been talking with to Michael are beatific smiles.
True. It's true.
Because listening to you, Michael, is just a joy.
Thank you so much.
The one and only Sarah Day hardly needs an introduction for anyone who knows anything at all about theater in Wisconsin. She's a founding member of Forward Theater and just retired from her 40-year career at American Players Theater. Sarah is a legend, and it is hard to think of anyone that is more beloved in this region. I personally know so many young actors whose lives and careers have been shaped by Sarah's mentorship. So I cannot wait to hear about who has done the same for her. Welcome, Sarah. I want to hear about your mentors.
Thank you, Jen. That was a very gracious and beautiful introduction. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All true.
Well, my first mentor was a man named Seth Reines, who was the artistic director of Wilson Street East Dinner Theater here in Madison.
Oh, nice.
And it was located where the Essen House is right now on East Wilson Street. I had never been mentored or encouraged by any means within either my high school career nor in theater in my college career. So, but I enjoyed the heck out of doing it. But I guess I just didn't audition well. And somehow, out of the blue, I wound up reading something in what was called a newspaper at the time. And it was that the artistic director of Wilson Street East was offering a class on how to audition at Edgewood, then called college, now Edgewood University. And so I wound up taking these classes from Seth Reines, and they were fun and I enjoyed it. And it was just a terrific experience. And I went at the end of the class and thanked him. It was 4 classes over the course of 4 weeks. And I thanked him for this. And I said, I really enjoyed myself. And he said, oh, by the way, we're doing a show and I want you to audition for it coming up the next month. I was so thrilled. And then I wound up getting the role that I had auditioned for with this. It was in the play or the musical Funny Girl. And I played Sarah Straykosh, who is the mother to Sadie, Married Lady. So I so enjoyed it. And then I worked in several other plays and musicals with him. And I really feel like he was the first person, I guess I want to say, who saw me. Because, I had never sort of been given a chance to be in shows. So he was the first one. And then I would say that my main mentor for the last 40 years of my career were Randall Duck Kim and Anokyo Grosso, who were so inspiring and so passionate and were so generous and kind to me. And they also saw me and really encouraged me to continue with this, to be a part of this company. And I was overwhelmed by their generosity of spirit. But mostly, I was so moved and thrilled, body-shaking thrilled by the passion that they had for the work they were doing. And I think there's nothing better than to be mentored and carried along by people who are passionate about what they do. So I would say that those are the 3 people who were most instrumental in my life as far as feeling as though I was seen and encouraged.
Lucky us. Lucky us.
You said that that Randall and the joy that he and his wife bring, and we certainly see that of you, Sarah, and in all that you tackle. Um, what what do you think you got from them that you carry through in your life?
Well, I think one of the main things was to treat the play that you are doing. I mean, they named it American Players Theater because they felt the players were what was important. And what was exciting is that they used the first folio as their guide, which was put together by Shakespeare's players. And it was really about a player feeling obligated or being obligated, not feeling obligated, being obligated to really know the language and the text and to have an understanding of the play as a whole and how you fit into it. It was very much having an understanding of how you fit into it, as I said. And I think that that was really exhilarating. And like looking up every word in the OED, in the Oxford English Dictionary, so that you had a clear understanding of everything you were saying at every moment. And they also felt as though the idea of cutting Shakespeare by directors, they felt was wrong because it's like, who is a director to know what it is that the playwright means? How dare you do that? And they wanted to have the audience be able to see the play in its full intent by the playwright. And and that was eye-opening to me as far as being really knowing that I was obligated to really know exactly what I was saying, exactly what was going on, and then be able to have room to play with everyone else on stage.
Sarah, I've got to imagine for me, these are just legends, right? But for legends like these two people, that just the time they were here in Wisconsin would itself have been enough, right? I mean, that would be a burning light that would carry you forward through the 40 years that you say you've relied on them in terms of mentoring. But did you, after they left, did you stay in touch with them? And was that conversation able to continue for you?
I did not. I was in contact with them a couple of times, not continuing because there was a bad breakup with the theater, and so it was staying with APT was a decision to make. But I think what had happened was those woods and still doing those plays became what was the driving force for me, and my respect and honor for them is what kept me going, though. I would say.
It's truly been a beautiful thing. You know, as someone, I was, just a few years behind you. So when you were starting your career at APT,
I was a few.
I mean, I was coming to see you when I was in high school, and you were a young ingenue on stage.
What?
Okay, and to come back to Wisconsin as I did, going on 21 years ago now.
Ooh.
And to get to see the depth of the work that you have been doing out at APT, that you have done here at Forward and at other theaters around the region. But more than that, getting to know you as one of the founding members of Forward and as a member still currently of our advisory company, the way in which you take the responsibility of mentorship so to heart has been instrumental in Forward's success. The number of times that you have come to me and said, this young designer, this young actor, this play that I read, and brought that and said, this is someone worth looking at, but not stopping there. I mean, the number of young people that I know you show up to go to those uncut plays at Young Shakespeare Players that go on for, 4 or 5 hours with children in them. Because you've taken an interest in one of those young people and showing up to support them over and over again. It's astonishing and moving to see how much you think about the next generation and the role that you can play in building them up. And it's why you were one of the first people that I wanted to ask to participate in this conversation, because I thought for you to be such a profoundly dedicated mentor yourself, it must have been modeled for you.
Well, I think it was modeled by Randy and Annie. And one of the things that I also loved about how Randy and Annie formed the theater, it was a very much of a 18th, 19th century system of an actor manager, in the sense that there was the leading actor who was also the manager of the theater. And their job is to have the young players go from playing the ingenue to playing the leading person to playing to then playing the character role, whatever that means. Because if an actor's not playing a character, what the heck are they? But it was very much looking towards next steps and knowing that this generation of actors is just here and keeping plays together in the present moment, that this is something that's at least been going on since the Greeks, if not before. And our job is to pass these stories along. And it's like, it doesn't end with me. And if I'm not looking toward the future, I'm not doing my job as someone who believes in the art form of theater.
That's
Beautiful.
That's so inspiring, particularly given what you were saying, Sarah, about the text-centric approach. As you think about your mentoring and the world that we're moving into, where its attention spans are shorter, where 4.5-hour plays just aren't happening as in the way that they once did, do you feel as though that light that still lives on within you, is that going to continue, do you think, going forward?
It's a little light, I hope, but it's harder. It's much harder, and I think part of it has to do with having this idea of really understanding what the play is and not making it so that, well, people won't get it. The thing that Randy and Annie really wanted was, it was sort of if you build it, they will come, in the sense of, if you make this language challenging. And that's part of young Shakespeare players too, is if you are making this language accessible for people, not just tolerated or but to really engage and go, I understood that. And it's because an actor is giving it to you because you understand it, that you will then go, oh, I was challenged. I didn't just sit back and listen to a play, but I was engaged in it. And that's when an actor and a play is put together, so that it challenges you. And that's what I find exhilarating about doing a good play, is that you're leaning forward. Forward!
You see what you did there. Oh, Sarah, it's a beautiful story, beautifully told. And of course, I love that you started off with Wilson Street East Dinner Theater, which we know dates back very far in your history, and also with some of the other founders of Forward.
Yes, exactly.
And doing slightly different kinds of plays than APT was.
Yeah, a little bit of Neil Simon, a little, things like that. And I got a kick out of it. It was a great.
Your career contains multitudes.
Yeah, I started there when I was 19.
Wow.
So it was a great experience for me. But what I never had was, I never had a school, or really, I took some classes when I was getting a history degree at UW-Madison, but I didn't have that freedom of making mistakes in a college setting. Instead, I was doing 8 shows a week at a dinner theater, kind of going, well, you got to deliver, kid. So that was kind of a good way to know that you got to do your work. You got to do your work.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, I just went on and on and on.
No, it was.
You are so inspiring, Sarah Day.
Yeah. You're just leaving us all with warm feelings and inspiring thoughts, which was kind of the point.
Yeah.
It's kind of
really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very grateful to chat with the 3 of you. This was very pleasant. Thank you.
That's all for this episode of Theater Forward, a conversation about theater in Wisconsin, the Midwest, and America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jen Uphoff-Gray.
And I'm Julie Swenson. And I want to thank our guests today for sharing their incredible stories about their mentors.
And I'm Mike Fisher. Our podcast is produced by Scott Hayden, who makes these stories possible and allows us to carry it forward. You can find us and listen to these stories at Theater Forward. Theater, as always, spelled with an ER. If we leave you with nothing else, that's our mentoring tip for the day.
And if you enjoy this podcast, don't forget to subscribe to us and leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
We're grateful to have you listening, and we will be back soon for another Theater Forward conversation.